You have to do things abroad. You couldn't do things in the country. The Communist Party was banned. Everything was banned. Nobody could do anything. You had to operate outside the country. It started, Ruth first was doing a, she was a journalist, she was doing a job in South Africa where the farmers were using convicts to collect potatoes. They would come in cages with convicts in cages to the farms and to pick the potatoes. So Ruth did a whole big article for the South African government on that whole thing about using the African convicts. Farmers were using the convicts. So big, enormous. And the ANC then wrote to us in Britain and wanted a boycott, but we couldn't boycott. There was no point in boycotting potatoes because people could get potatoes. We weren't importing potatoes. You were importing oranges, so we couldn't. So that's when we started. The first meeting was a boycott committee. It wasn't the anti-apartheid. It was 1957. I can remember we had a meeting in town hall of. Was it the Holborn Town Hall, launching the boycott committee. That boycott committee started, and then from there developed into the anti-apartheid movement. We shared an office in, what's that name of that street, going onto Shaftesbury Avenue. We shared an office with the Committee of African Organisations. We shared an office with them, and then one day we had a demonstration at Hyde Park. Not many people, and the National Front burnt our premises. They burnt our office down, so it was very difficult for the boycott. We couldn't get premises anywhere because once the insurance company know you've been burnt, they won't give you a pen. They're frightened that you might be burnt again. So we had problems finding places, but we found different places. People very kindly gave us offices, and we became the anti-apartheid movement. Had a meeting and we formed the anti-apartheid movement. But it started off as a boycott committee. There was a black MP, I've forgotten his name. It was his office that we were sharing an office. It was his office that we were using. And we had interesting, the anti-apartheid movement was a broad organisation. It was broad. We had the churches, the trade unions, the sixth formers. It was a broad organisation. We had Tories, Liberal, very good. Jeremy Thorpe was a Liberal. Humphrey Barclay was a Tory. We had some very, very good people from the political party. Church organisations. Churches were wonderful. Wonderful. So we were a broad organisation. That's how we managed. We didn't commit ourselves to any particular cause. We were anti-apartheid. People joined from all over. I meet people today, who said, she said, I remember my mother saying we can't buy South African oranges. I hear it all the time from people who say that their mothers were boycotting South African goods. Interesting, wasn't it? And we were busy because there was, I tell you, vigils almost every night. Vigils. It was quite hard at the beginning, because when we said we wanted to boycott South African goods, people said, why do you want to boycott South Africa? It's a lovely country. Sunshine, and I've got visitors. My family are staying there. They couldn't. It wasn't an enemy of Britain. So why are you boycotting? And then it was quite hard. And once I went to a wine shop in Muswell Hill, and I said I wanted a bottle of wine, and I said I don't want any South African wine. You know what the man said to me? You don't have to worry. No black hand has touched this wine. So they were getting the wrong message. They were getting the wrong message. You had to make. It was quite hard to tell people to boycott South Africa. And we used to sit outside Sainsbury's in Muswell Hill every Saturday morning, year after year after year. I was in charge of the table, the trestle table, bring it from Twyford Avenue in my car, set it up outside. And the manager got quite used to me. He said, not you again. I told the manager, we're not boycotting Sainsbury's, we're boycotting South African goods, not Sainsbury's. I said, oh, you again, good morning, you again. So they got to know us quite well. We got signatures.
Did you ever have any hassle on the table?
Well, somebody joined our branch, and I didn't know this, but it turned out that he was pinning a little label on the South African fruit which said, "This fruit will kill you." We didn't allow that. We found it out and we told him, we don't want you, thank you, in our organisation. We don't believe in that. We're just boycotting South African goods. That's what we're doing. In a peaceful way. And every Labour Party conference, we took advantage. We went to the Labour Party conferences, the Liberal Party conferences, and we set up a little table and we sold our literature. I had a lot of literature. Without the British people supporting us, it wasn't anti-apartheid movement was not a South African organisation. It was a British organisation. We had British students all over the United Kingdom, sixth form colleges. These are the people that came out. These are the people that came and supported us. They didn't have to. It's not their country. But they did. They're wonderful. And then what about the Netherlands? What about the Americans? The black Americans were wonderful as well. Wonderful. There was a credit balance in the anti-apartheid books. One day Villa came home to me one day and said, "You know what? Because we didn't have the computers, if there was a demonstration, we had what they call a telephone line. Everybody in the movement was told to go home and ring 20 people. The telephone link. Anytime there's you have a list of 20 people. You do that, you do that. So that's how we got people to come to the meetings. And you know what? They all came to the meetings. They came to the meetings. And you couldn't spend a penny without Villa Pillay with the treasurer. A receipt before you spent a penny. You couldn't spend a penny without a receipt. You've got to be careful of money, Tamish. You've got to control those pennies or you're in trouble. So Villa came home one day and he said, "You know what?" He said, "The anti-apartheid are in terrible trouble. They've got a bill for the telephone and they can't pay it because they were using the telephone a lot. You haven't got a computer." So I said, "What did you do, Villa?" You know what he said? They want a surety. So guess what I've done? I've given them our house, 73, a surety. I said, "Oh my, they might take the house away," but they didn't. But you have to give surety to the telephone people. And we were the only ones who had a house, Tamish. Nobody had a house except Patsy. So everybody came to 73. The whole world came to 73. Famous, you know. Very famous.
Who came to 73?
I'll tell you who came to 73. Nelson Mandela came to 73. Walter Sisulu was earlier. He came to Hillfield Park long before. Arnold was only one when Walter Sisulu came. People came and they all sat at our table. Trevor Huddleston came. In fact, I've got a tablecloth signed by Trevor Huddleston. You never took photographs, you know. You can't take photographs of a person who's not supposed to be in the country. How can you photograph them? What are you doing with it? Why are you taking a picture of me? So you didn't. But afterwards I said to Trevor Huddleston, "Would you sign my tablecloth?" So he signed my tablecloth. And then we had Oliver Tambo. That's interesting about Oliver Tambo. At that time, when they were all coming, I shouldn't tell you, I was quite fat. And I thought to myself, I've got to so I went to Weight Watchers. And I was on a Weight Watchers diet, which is a very good diet. And they were telling us, "Don't have puddings, have yogurt." So that day, Oliver Tambo was coming for supper. So I said, "Oliver, I've got a very nice yogurt for you. It's a natural yogurt." I gave him, he'd never tasted yogurt before. So one day I got a telephone call from Adelaide, his wife. "What have you done with my Oliver?" I thought, "Oh my God, what have you done with my Oliver? What have I done with Oliver? He wants yogurt every day." Interesting. I used to babysit for Adelaide. She'd say I'm going to be 2 hours, and she'd be 7 hours. So I stopped babysitting after twice. Villa said, "Where are you?" I said, "I've been babysitting." "You said 2 hours." I said, "She didn't come. She went shopping with baby Winnie Mandela, and they were out for about 5 hours. So I stopped babysitting for them. And you might have heard their children on SABC. I think Darley is a commentator on SABC. No, that book talks about how I opened 73, how I opened our house for everybody. Everybody came to us. Everybody. All these people came. All these people, Tarbell and Becky was a student. They were all students, and they came, on Sunday they used to come and have lunch with me. And they sometimes babysat, but I used to give them lunch, they babysat. I used to go out with them and they babysat. I didn't pay them, they babysat.